really appreciate that. I am now going to slide share and show you what Childcare Now Nova Scotia has been up to as a report back to community and as a reminder of all that's happened in the last 2 years. As you said, Childcare Now Nova Scotia is dedicated to advocating for a universal, comprehensive, affordable, accessible, publicly funded, quality nonprofit childcare system. And we are a chapter of Childcare Now. And I do want to acknowledge and thank Morna and Childcare Now's support for helping us to, hire a coordinator, which has really made a phenomenal difference for the work. As many of you know, the steering committee and all of the volunteer work that people do is mostly off the side of their desks and in times when we can do it. And I really think that without the paid coordinator, we would, I know, in fact, for a fact, that we would not have been able to do the work that we've done. Kenya's actually our third coordinator. We had another student who moved off to Ottawa. Who was our first coordinator. And then we had the amazing Nikki Jamieson with us for a while. And I'm going to show you some of the things that Nikki did for us. And then Kenya joined us this summer, and it's been just fantastic to have them. I also want to acknowledge the steering committee members who are in the room and who have done so much work as well, putting the pressure on, showing up at events, supporting, reading all the things, giving feedback and input, and taking time out of all of your busy schedules to do this work. And I know for many, many people, including myself, it has been decades that people have been doing this work to advocate for a high quality childcare system accessible to everyone. And so the past 2 years, Kenya did this incredible timeline for us. Do you want to switch slides, Kenya? And I know this is it's overwhelming because we've done a lot of things. And I am going to highlight some of them and really show you some of the work that we've been able to do. But our founding meeting was June 12th, 2021. And then I guess a couple of weeks later was when the bilateral was announced. And that bilateral agreement put $605 million on the table. And as Morna said, I mean, it is absolutely something that we should celebrate after many decades of really not seeing the investment that was needed. We're still not there, but this is the most significant investment we have seen in building this system, and why it's so critical that we continue to move it forward. But it was also the Nova Scotia election happened, I think was called again, weeks later, and we intervened in that, trying to get each party on record in terms of their support for building the system and continuing to invest, because we also need our province to invest. This isn't just on the federal government to do so. And then media interventions and rallies, and next slide. All along the way, we've been trying to keep up the pressure, trying to make sure that the voices of ECEs are really centered here. And I think that's what Morna really underlined was, without them, we don't have a system. And we shouldn't even be talking about spaces, because it's like talking about hospital beds as if we don't need nurses and others. We know that it's critical for us to have ECEs at the heart of everything we do. And I see so many of you have shown up again tonight and want to also recognize and acknowledge the work that you've done. And for some of you, well, actually, I'm not going to finish my sentence. You'll see the stories that have been shared with us from ECEs, many of whom have been working in the sector for decades and are still struggling to make ends meet. It's so completely unacceptable and shameful that this work has been so undervalued for so long. So this is a timeline, and then we're going to kind of show you some of the things. Oh, this is just some kind of metrics of some of the things we've done, the press releases, the blogs, the media hits, which all take time and continued input from everyone as we figure out, make sure that our message is consistent and on point in terms of where we want to get to. Open letters and rallies. And now we're going to highlight some of these because these are just numbers. But behind all of this, we'll remind you about how to get in touch with us and keep informed. But behind all of this, I mean, here are just a couple of events. Is some of this incredible work. This is, oh yeah, play the video. This is a video one of the videos that Nikki did for us. This was for the last National Day of Action, really impactful. And I know some of our ECEs were actually behind the scenes there doing some scene changes and things with Nikki, but you obviously understand what we were trying to relay in that video. Here's another example of some of the work that we did do. There was a letter writing campaign to send letters to MLAs demanding fair wages, benefits, pensions, and sick leave for ECEs. And the little image there tells us that over 700 Nova Scotians sent letters. And you'll see, if you can see that map there, you'll see people sent letters from across the province to their MLAs asking and demanding, in fact, that our ECEs be paid a fair wage and get access to benefits.
Would you like to play the next video?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh. Is there sound on this one? No. Tanya, is there sound? Because we can't hear it.
Can you hear it?
Can anybody else hear it? No. No luck, on the sound. The images are fantastic. You get the idea. I mean, the rally was this was the rally that was led by ECEs. This is the November 30th one. I don't know. I can't remember. There were so many things.
That was the November 30th one.
Okay. Thank you. So this was another campaign that we did where we asked ECs to share their experiences with us. So the Time Is Now campaign, again, was about putting pressure, continuing pressure on government around fairly compensating our ECEs. And we also asked to hear from directors and how things were going in their programs. And you can see some of what was shared I'm debating whether or not, sorry, Kenya, I don't know if others, whether or not I can keep going to work and still pay to cover the cost of childcare for my own children. We have currently only registered half of our licensing capacity because we have not been able to replace our staff member who left for better wages and benefits in the pre-primary program. And this is, of course, something that we have been hearing. I work while hungry a lot because I cannot afford groceries every week. Sometimes all I eat is a tiny bowl of lunch at lunchtime with the kids. I'm 57 years old, working 2 jobs every weekday, 8 a.m. to 9:30 to make ends meet. I can't continue this much longer as it's taking a toll on my health. We so appreciated the ECs and directors and all who shared what the current situation means in real time in their everyday lives as a way to lift those voices and make clear that the current situation cannot continue. This was a rally that was organized to show that solidarity, to have parents and grandparents and those in the ECE sector come out for a fun day in July 2022 at Peace and Friendship Park in Halifax. But we also asked others across the province to do chalk messages. And these are some images, and I think that is Nikki's little boy there. So there are some images from across the province with signs. We had face painting, and it was such a gorgeous day, an amazing turnout to show solidarity. In the stories that we hear, and I'm one of those moms who's very appreciative and built such a strong relationship with the ECEs who took care of my kids. Parents know the value of ECEs and came out and showed their support. It was amazing. That's some of the highlights of the work, which I think you can understand as Morna and Kenya has outlined why we need to continue. What